Another day, another reaction. This time, geography now, with countries with limited recognition. So I imagine something like Transnistria, Somaliland, things of that nature. So let's get right into it.
There yet, but it's working on it. Let's have a Jogger talk. Hey, Jogger peeps, hope you're doing well. So, here on Geography Now, we've covered every single UN sovereign state from Afghanistan to Zimbabwe. That being said, this world isn't exactly always completely clear cut, black and white when it comes to the issue of what constitutes sovereignty. I swear this neighborhood, I'm gonna go crazy one day. So in this world, we have regions or sections within a country. Are you kidding me? Shut the up! I swear, if I didn't have my mom as
Bro, what? A reasonable crash out.
a dependent to take care of, I'd probably be in.
I can understand the struggle. My dad always says we live in the loudest street in the world because I don't know what is happening in my street, but the thing is, I live next to two pizzerias that are next to each other. So you can imagine that there's gonna be like on special holidays and like occasions, it's gonna be loud. Okay, it's gonna be loud.
Prison by now from fighting my stupid neighbors. Anywho, where was I? Let me go back to the script. Oh, yeah. So, in this world, we have countries, right? But then you notice sometimes within these countries, there are like breakaway regions or areas or sections of the country or even just semi-organized political groups that do not want to be a part of said country. And many of them have a claim or a degree of self-determination that they impose for themselves. And this is sort of where the gray zone begins in terms of statehood. Now, I know what some of you guys are thinking. There are a ton of like separatist groups all over the world. There's like over 100 of them. And I'm not going to talk about the micronations. A lot of those groups are just kind of like fringe organizations that don't have any.
Wait, let's analyze this picture a little bit. We have I can't really see Europe, but yeah.
Any real set solid structure in their movement towards self-determination. What we are going to discuss today are the states of the world that are not fully recognized but have some kind of degree of organized self-rule and have limited recognition from actual UN member states. Before we get into those states though, it's important to note that today there are 6 countries within the UN that do not have full recognition. The first country, Armenia, who is not recognized by Pakistan due to the fact that Pakistan announced that they were supporting Azerbaijan in the first Nagorno-Karabakh Artsakh war. Weirdly enough though, Azerbaijan, their opponent, recognizes Armenia as a state. They just disagree on the Nagorno-Karabakh Artsakh thing. So I don't know, maybe Pakistan is just kind of stuck in a time loop and they just can't go back on their word, which makes things a little weird and awkward, but that's just kind of how things are now on paper between Pakistan and Armenia. Number 2, the
Nah, they just are so supportive of Azerbaijan, they think it's all Azerbaijan.
People's Republic of China. Today, 11 countries do not officially recognize them.
Okay, Belize, Eswatini, Guatemala, wait, random ass countries. Haiti, Marshall Islands, Palau, Paraguay, Sound Kitts and Nevis, Lucia, whatever, Sound Vincent, Tuvalu, and Vatican City. Random ass, tiny ass countries for some reason.
As they have opted to recognize the Republic of China, which is also known as Taiwan, although they go by a bunch of other different names depending on the international organization or event that's happening. The point is, 11 countries do not recognize them in favor for Taiwan. Number 3, the Republic of Cyprus. So the actual UN recognized country of the Republic of Cyprus is not recognized by Turkey. Why? A lot of my subscribers already know it's because of Northern Cyprus. I'm not going to explain the whole thing. I already made many videos about this, but basically there was a big war where they separated the Greek side and the Turkish side, and Turkey only recognizes the northern Turkish side of the island. That calls themselves the Republic of Northern Cyprus. They even use the Turkish lira as their currency. It's complicated. They have limited recognition, but that's just kind of how the things are going right now. The next one, Israel and Palestine. I don't really feel like I have to explain too much. These two have been in the news a lot recently. Everybody's talking about them. But let me just put it this way. Today, 27 countries do not have any formal ties with Israel, whereas 165 nations recognize Israel and some some of them also recognize both Israel and Palestine. I also want to specify that this whole situation thing is actually a lot more nuanced than people tend to make it out. When referencing the Palestinian Authority, almost all international organizations or recognizing nations are referring to Fatah, or the Palestinian National Authority that operates the West Bank areas, not Hamas in the Gaza Strip. The two parties had a split in 2007, and even today they still have a dispute with each other. Also note that Palestine is not a full UN member state, but a UN.
It's not always black and white. Remember that. In a war, there are always two sides. Personally, I think it's a little bit more nuanced than like, oh, one side is the bad side, one side is the good side. It's like 99% of the time that's not the case. Okay. But first, I want to know if Germany does I know that Germany, like the government, is pro-Israel, but do they recognize Germany recognize Palestine? Do they do that? After Germany repeatedly spoke out in favor of reducing tensions in the conflict between Palestine and Israel and committed itself to a two-state solution. However, Germany refused to recognize the state of Palestine, which is recognized by... Okay, so they do not recognize Palestine. I know that the government is like pro-Israel because, well, of our past, but that doesn't mean we have to suck Israel's nuts. I don't know.
General Assembly observer state. So they're allowed to observe within the UN, but they can't vote on stuff. And finally, the Koreas, North and South Korea. Obviously, they do not recognize each other. Each one believes that they should be the sole legitimate ruling power over the entire Korean peninsula. Nonetheless, occasionally they might have some informal summits or interactions with each other. You know, when you go to the DMZ, occasionally you'll see people trying to like float balloons over
I only recognize Goryeo.
The fences. And now we get to the specialized agency members. This is a weird branch of recognition within the UN. So let's just jump into it. The Cook Islands and Niue. These are considered self-governing states under international law.
Isn't like Cook Islands the country with the highest obesity rate, even higher than the USA? Cook Islands obesity rate. I heard it's like 50% or some shit. Yeah, look at this. Cook Islands, percentage of obese persons, 55.9%. Ooh, bro. This is insane. Wait, what is the USA? 42.4%. That is crazy. 40% of adults. Okay, that is genuinely insane. Wait. We have to, of course, I have to also measure Germany. 19%. Okay. Good.
But they fall under free association with New Zealand. We explained this in the New Zealand episode. Both of them have their own languages and constitutions. However, all the people on these islands are New Zealand citizens. And essentially, New Zealand is in charge of their military and large-scale diplomatic operations. Side note, Tokelau is not in this category. They are a dependency of New Zealand. Plus, they only have like 1,500 people on their islands. It's like barely anybody. Not sure how functional it would be as an independent country. Today, they are considered non-member states of the UN, a title that only belongs to them. And today, about 60 countries plus the Vatican actually do have diplomatic relations with them. The next one, Kosovo. A lot of you guys have probably heard of this one. Now, this is a complicated one because they have a very complicated history with Serbia. Long story short, in the 90s, they had a war with Serbia, blah, blah, blah. Yugoslavia was breaking.
Bro, all I know about this is like, there's so many Serbians online that say like Kosovo, Serbia is crazy, and I'm like, why do you care this much? Like seriously, why do you care this much? Personally, I feel like if the people in Kosovo want to be an independent country and don't want to be a part of Serbia, like the majority of people there, let them be independent. I don't know. Maybe that's a crazy take. But I feel like if a country wants independence, like if a certain kind of people, like the majority of people in that area want independence, give them independence. Like, what is this? Like, you're taking them hostage in your country, basically.
down, blah, blah, blah. The UN got involved, and then in 2008, they declared independence. And today, they are administered by the UN Security Council Resolution 1244 with the UN Administration Mission to Kosovo, with cooperation with the EU, which is why they use euros as their currency today. Under Yugoslavia, Kosovo was considered an autonomous province of Serbia under the name of Kosovo I Metohija. Today, it is mostly inhabited by ethnic Albanians. Mostly in the north, you can find the Serbs and other pockets of the area. By law, both languages are co-official, and all of the old Serbian Orthodox churches are heavily protected in this area. And today, Serbia's government has a weird, like, we're not going to recognize you, but we're willing to at least talk and figure some things out with you relationship. Like, it's weird. When you go to the Belgrade airport, you'll even see they post up signs saying, like, we don't recognize Kosovo, but we're willing to kind of figure things out with them. Like, it's up signs.
Let me read that. Establishing the use of identity cards issued by Pristina, Kosovo, is done exclusively for practical reasons, for the purpose making possession of individuals easier, for enabling the freedom of movement accordance with the
saying like we don't
the agreement on freedom of movement reached in the dialogue in 2011. It cannot be interpreted as recognition of unilaterally declared independence of Kosovo. It is without prejudice to determining Kosovo's final status, nor can it be interpreted. I always struggle with that word, as Belgrade relinquishing its rights conferred to it under the United Nations Security Council. What?
recognize Kosovo, but we're willing to kind of figure things.
Okay. They're just like, we don't recognize you, but we can talk. We can talk it out.
Things out with them. Like it's you see it at the airport right before customs. Like they want to heavily specify the policy that they have in regards to their stance towards Kosovo. They take it seriously. And now we have the states that are non-UN members that are recognized by at least one UN member state. Abkhazia and South Ossetia. So long story short, these were autonomous regions run by the Georgian SSR.
They're probably recognized by Russia.
Back in USSR times. The USSR, you see, the thing is, like, before the USSR broke up, there were a lot of SSR or like republic nations that had their own autonomous regions, and these autonomous regions are always the ones that kind of have complications. But anyway, both these areas have their own distinct ethnic groups, the Abkhaz and the Ossetians. The Abkhaz people are basically related to the Circassians that you can find in the whole Caucasus region, and the Ossetians are exactly the same people as the North Ossetians that you can find in Russia today. They're descended from an ancient Iranic tribe that migrated up into the Caucasus from Iran. It's a long story, I know it's a little confusing, but that's the backstory. Basically, after the breakup of the USSR, these two regions wanted to have their own independence, which is why they had wars with Georgia in 1991 all the way to 1993, and then South Ossetia had another war in 2008. Both of the wars were backed up by the Russian military. On paper, the international community considers these areas still as autonomous regions within the country of Georgia. However, today, 5 UN countries actually do recognize them as independent states. They are Russia, Syria, Nicaragua, Venezuela, and for some reason, Nauru.
What is with these random ass small nations that are just like, okay, I'm just gonna recognize this. Like who do you think you are? I think these countries are just too small to like make a difference and like actually have negotiations and stuff like that, so they are just like, okay, let's just do random stuff. Let's just have fun.
I don't know how they got involved, but okay.
Like they're in the middle of nowhere, they're a small country, they like nobody would go out of their way to like start a war with them. They're like let's do a little bit of trolling. I mean, I would do the same.
Okay. The next one, the Sahrawi Arab Democratic Republic, or the SADR, or the Polisario Front. Moroccan people, I know you get very heated when you even hear anything about this. I'm just gonna say it out objectively as it is. I know. So basically, after Spain left the Western Sahara region in 1975, there were 3 groups of people that were kind of like arguing about this area: Morocco, Mauritania, and the SADR. Mauritania quickly withdrew their claim and they were just like, nah, we're good. So that just left Morocco with the SADR. And the dispute has been going on to this very day. The SADR are made up of Sahrawi people, which are basically a Hassani Arab people. That means they're mixed between Berbers and Arabs. They have their own distinct culture and dialect, all that stuff. And to this day, if you look at them between Berbers and Arabs, they have their
Why does this image go so hard? And the way he stands there, kind of menacingly, with his drip on.
own distinct culture and dialect.
And there are 4 pyramids in the background.
all that stuff. And to this day, if you look at the map, actually, if you zoom in on the satellite imaging, you will notice there is a thing called the sand berm. This is an actual demilitarized area within the sands of the Sahara that separates what Morocco administers and claims versus what the SADR administers and claims. Today, Morocco takes up about 80% of all of Western Sahara, including all of the Atlantic coast. I mean, technically, but then you look at the SADR and they kind of have a little bit of something on that little peninsula, but it's like the SADR basically got stuck with everything inland. Next one, the Republic of China, otherwise known as Taiwan. Today, there are 11 countries that only recognize Taiwan and have no bilateral relations with the PRC. They only fully recognize Taiwan, whereas 59 countries have unofficial relations with Taiwan, with de facto embassies or ministries of foreign affairs for Taiwan within their own countries. It's complicated. Basically, in 1911, they had the Xinhai Revolution, which was basically when the ROC deposed the last and final imperial dynasty of China. It was led by Sun Yat-sen. He's like the hero of Taiwanese people. You'll see statues of this guy everywhere in Taiwan. And then after that, shortly, there was a civil war. The communists took over the mainland, which kicked out all of the socialist ROC people to Taiwan. That's basically how it happened. And to this day, both parties believe that they should be the rightful ruler of all of China, including Taiwan and the mainland. Today, the relations between the two are complicated, but they do have some kind of interaction, but everything's so complicated. Like even at the Olympics, you'll see that like they have to be careful with the way how they mention the Taiwanese people in the island. They say like ROC, but sometimes they say like Chinese Taipei. It's complicated. Whenever anything Taiwan comes up, it gets messy, man. The next category, we have non-states recognized by other non-states. And
Personally, I only recognize the democratic or like Taiwan. But now I think personally I'm not a fan of the CCP, so I'm naturally more inclined to support Taiwan. Cause yeah, the CCP sucks. Just saying it how it is. But I don't have anything against like the country of China. Very beautiful country. I have some friends in China. But yeah, the government is poo-poo.
There's only one of them in this one, Transnistria, and I actually got to go there with my buddy Gus, and it was an interesting place. We actually hitchhiked in with some random Russian guy. It's actually a cool place to check out if you're curious. It's totally safe and everything, but it's just like, yeah, on paper.
With some random Russian guy. But that's the truth, man. I love that. When you're like, when I was in Turkey as a kid, like for a vacation, I also like at the beach, there was like some random Turkish girl. I don't know. I went home with her. Like she took us home. I ate at her home. Didn't know her. I don't know. And in Japan as well. The last time, my last trip was Japan. I met some woman there. I don't know. She was like an elderly woman, and she like gave me something, like she, like a grandma, okay, and then she saw me like standing there or like walking, and then went up to me and talked to me in Japanese. I didn't understand. Then I was like, "You speak English?" or something like that. She's told me in the most broken English ever, like if I want to have some food that she had left over. Then I ate at her place. I love that. When you're like in a random country, you don't know shit. You don't know the language, but you still find a way to like meet people there and stuff like that. I don't know.
It's a complete oof.
I don't know if you understand what I'm trying to say, but like. Yeah.
Ooh. This is kind of like a breakaway state that broke off from the country of Moldova in 1991, shortly after the breakup.
It's basically the Moldova of Moldova.
Of the USSR. Moldova used to be a SSR. Basically, same situation as Georgia. And it broke away with this is a long one. It broke away with the assistance from the former Soviet 14th Guards Combined Arms Army, which is now the operational group of Russian forces. They are also active with Russian peacekeeping troops. Long story short, Russia is heavily involved in this area. But Russia doesn't want to claim this place for themselves because, I mean, first of all, it's surrounded by Ukraine and Moldova. There's like no way to access it unless you go through countries that hinder hinder access. Regardless, Russia still has a huge hand in dealing with their affairs. And to this day, only South Ossetia and Abkhazia, which are non-member states, recognize them officially as a state. And if you go to the central square of Transnistria's capital Tiraspol, you'll see flagpoles of Abkhazia and South Ossetia. It's kind of like the unknowns are supporting each other. It's so weird. This place has like their own currency and they use like plastic coins, and it's so crazy. Like you can't use any credit cards there. They have their own weird credit system. Today Transnistria is a mix of Russian, Moldovan, and Ukrainian peoples, and the only country that accepts their passport is Moldova, and most Transnistrian people also have Moldovan passports because Moldova believes that they should belong to them. Oh, and if you cross into their border, they don't stamp your passport, but they give you a paper that they stamp for you that they put in your passport, and then you have to give that paper back by the time you leave. And I think you're only allowed like a certain amount of time to stay there. It's complicated, man. And they don't take Romanian rental cars. They only take Moldovan ones. So I couldn't drive in. That's why we had to hitchhike. This was a weird one, man. God, how many more do we have? Okay, there's only 2 left. Sweet. Okay. I swear, after 10 years of this. Oh, dang. What did I put in this? Oh, I think I put arak in this. The stuff from Jordan. That is good stuff. Geography Now does not endorse underage drinking. If you are underage, do not drink. But I am of age, so.
I was confused. Like, what is he implying that he's underage?
Where were we? Oh yeah. The next one. Non-member states that are not recognized by any other state, and the only one in this category is Somaliland. I actually had
I called it, man. Somaliland.
To this one for a geography a long time ago, and I met a lot of you guys, the Somalilander geographies, and you guys were super nice and cool. Anywho, basically these guys kind of see themselves as the successor of the former state of Somaliland that existed for 5 days when they got independence from the UK a long time ago, and then shortly after that they united with the Republic of Somalia. Then shortly after that they kind of realized, oh crap, maybe we shouldn't have united, and then they like re-declared their own independence in 1991. Today, no country officially recognizes them, but they do have de facto unofficial relations with a lot of countries across the world. When I went there, I saw embassies for the UAE and Turkey and some other Ethiopia. In fact, the UAE even has a concession agreement to help manage the port of Berbera. Ethiopia accepts their passports and they have multiple trade agreements, and they also have one of the only few airlines that have direct flights to their capital, Hargeisa. I think the Emirates also has flights that go there. And when you go there, it's actually kind of like, it's very functional like a country, you know? It's like they even have their own like mobile payment system, EDAHAB, that everybody uses. They don't even use cash much. They use like mobile payment. Everybody does it. Yeah, very functionable, but nobody officially recognizes them. And finally,
I don't know why, bro, but that sounds to me like some sort of like you know those things as a kid, like Clash of Clans free gem generator. It sounds like something like that. I don't know why.
Last category, political entities that are recognized as sovereign despite being non-state entities. This is the strangest category because it's kind of like a country.
Isn't that doesn't that include like Scotland, Wales, Northern Ireland?
That has no land. And this was actually the entity that inspired me to make my April Fool's video, Volanka. I'm just saying. There's only one state that lies in this category, and it is the Sovereign Military Order of...
Oh, yeah. Which has no territory, by the way. This is like a country that has moved countless of times. I think it was even in Russia at one point.
Of Malta. This is like the only entity on Earth that isn't really a country, but people can have citizenship to and diplomatic relations with. Long story short, the Sovereign Military Order of Malta was established in 1113, and it is an actual observer entity within the UN recognized by 113 countries. It is subject to international law despite having no territory, and today they only have diplomatic offices and missions within other countries falling under extraterritorial status. That is a plot of land that is set apart from the local laws as it falls within their embassy status or whatever you want to call it, Ministry of Foreign Affairs. But other than that, which doesn't even really count, they have no land, only membership and citizenship status. It's so crazy because I remember when I went to Equatorial Guinea, of all places in the world,
I want to get that citizenship.
Equatorial Guinea. I came across a Sovereign Military Order of Malta embassy.
Are you kidding me? This is the last place I would have expected to find an embassy.
Is this a barber shop as well, or what the fuck?
For the Sovereign Military Order of Malta. It's legit. There's an embassy for the Sovereign Order of Malta here in Equatorial Guinea. Are Are you kidding me?
Like, even that country has an embassy. It's like, who are these people? They're so secretive and they pop up everywhere randomly across the world. It's weird, man. Wow, the more I drink of this, the more fun I have on these videos. Fun fact, I got wasted in some of the... I'm not gonna actually... too much information. Anywho, so there you go.
What?
All of the... What is this video called? So there you go, all of the states across the world with limited recognition. In any case, hope you guys are doing good. It's good to always see you again, occasionally every so often. And yeah, keep watching this channel, man. It's not over. I mean, I know we finished the Zimbabwe episode, but I'm trying really hard to maintain relevancy after 10 years of doing this channel, and I don't want to fall into obscurity and have people forget me, so keep watching the channel, please. And subscribe and
Okay. It's so over. It's so over. It's so over.
put on that notification bell or whatever, all these things that the influencers say. Cheers, stay cool, stay tuned.
Help him. Check his channel out. Watch his video. Subscribe to him so he isn't sad. See you in the next video. Please like. Please comment. Please subscribe. Please, I'm begging you. I'm on my knees. Hope you have a great day. Bye.